and good afternoon, everyone. I am Adrienne with Eldercare, and I just want to first say thank you so much for taking the time to join us this afternoon. I am very excited about today's topic, and I know this is normally live at a different time, and so I definitely appreciate you kind of changing from the normal schedule to make time for this training. And we do this training at least once a year because things are always changing in our industry, right? So there's always something new. So if you've attended one of these trainings, I promise you're going to be learning something new. And if this is your first time with us, I want to let you know that we want this to be a conversation. So please find the Q&A box if you're on the Zoom live, and then if you're live on Facebook, just find the comment box and ask us questions. Let us know, have you ever sold ACA? Have you never sold ACA? Do you use HealthSherpa? Do you not use HealthSherpa? I even love to know what state you're watching from. So if you want to comment what state you're watching from, I would greatly appreciate that as well. And then I also, before we get started and I introduce our special guest, I kind of want to put the plug in for Eldercare. So we are, a national FMO with integrity, and we can absolutely help you sell these products. We can help you, navigate all the requirements for you, whether that's certifications, licensing lines of authority, the carriers that are competitive in your area. We can help you navigate all of that. So if you're interested in learning more about working with us and what that would look like, let me know. And then if you're already working with us, which I see quite a few of you on here have been working with us for a long time, if you really want to start offering ACA, let me know, because we want to make sure you're not leaving any money on the table, right? We've had Galen on here. She talks about the spouse in the house. It happens so much that someone ages into 65 and you're selling them that Medicare plan, but you're leaving the spouse with nothing. And so hopefully this training will show you how easy it is to write that spouse an ACA plan. So we got Vicki saying she's in Illinois. She has not sold an ACA plan yet, but interested in starting. That's great, Vicki. The more products you're able to offer in a household, the better. And then without further ado, because I think everyone's kind of on now, I would love to introduce our special guest, Ross with HealthSherpa. Good morning, Ross, or good afternoon, Ross.
Well, it's still barely morning for me. Good morning and good afternoon to all of you folks. Thanks for having me, Adrienne, and thanks for setting this up. I apologize for everyone. I'm actually participating from out in Oregon, so I'm the reason for the time change. So I'm not doing this at 8 in the morning or whatever it was going to be. So I've had my coffee and I'm ready to go, and appreciate you all taking the time here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick. And yeah, like Adrienne said, we're an open book here to, help you all either get started in the ACA, start doing more in the ACA, whatever your position is. So feel free to, engage with questions, raise your hand, use the Q&A, whatever you need to do, and we'll jump in and hopefully get those questions answered. So to get right into it, I do want to highlight we have a ton of upcoming training sessions that are available on the agent training page. So also a couple of housekeeping items. This webinar will be recorded. I think you'll post it up on the YouTube. Is that right, Adrienne?
Yes, we will.
And then I'll also send this deck out to Adrienne so she can share that with everyone. There's a lot of links found in the deck to additional resource pages, help articles, things along those lines. So we've got agent trainings. If you're brand new, we've got some new to ACA, how to start selling ACA plans trainings. Or if you're more advanced, we've got some more advanced trainings as well scheduled for both June and going throughout the summer here. But for today's focus with Eldercare Insurance Services, we're going to touch on a bit about who HealthSherpa is, kind of what we do, the value we bring to agents and agencies that leverage our platform for ACA quoting and enrollment. We'll talk about how to get your account set up. We'll do a quick overview of the account in our staging environment, and then we'll go over some additional resources and touch on some pending and proposed changes to the ACA markets this year. All right, so starting off with who is HealthSherpa? So we give agents and brokers robust training, comprehensive tools, and timely support they need to help the people they serve connect to quality, affordable health plans. So we really see our platform as a marketplace to help agents and brokers that have all of the demand side customers, the people that need health insurance and the relationships there. We want to help them shop for and connect to qualified health plans in the ACA and in other lines of business. Some of the core benefits of Health Sherpa's EDE: it's free for agents, brokers, agencies, consumers. Again, that comes back to our marketplace model where we're really able to solely monetize the supply side that is in need of all of your demand. And we're able to do that since we've been around since 2013, operating in the ACA. We were, if not the first, one of the first and EDE platforms out there. EDE stands for Enhanced Direct Enrollment. It's essentially a fancy word for we're directly integrated with healthcare.gov. So when you do an application on Health Sherpa, all of that data and answers to the application questions, it goes directly to CMS through an API. You get a real-time eligibility determination back from CMS instantly. That's going to tell you whether or not you're eligible to enroll, if you're eligible for tax credits, how much those tax credits are, and any additional follow-ups your client has that you might need to help them resolve. And we'll get all into all that in a bit here, but some of the key pieces, because of that EDE integration, you can do applications directly on Health Sherpa. If any of you have been in the ACA for, I guess at this point it's 8+ years, you might remember a day when you would have to start on one website, go to healthcare.gov, and kind of bounce back and forth. It was really clunky back in the day. It's been very streamlined, and you can do everything right on Health Sherpa now. You can save time with pre-filled renewals. So if you have existing ACA clients, it's really simple because the ACA app is so long. It's really helpful to have that app kind of pre-filled from last year's data and just adjust what you need to adjust instead of do the entire application over again on renewal time. Improve client effectuation. We've got some things we'll show you in a bit around resolving follow-ups, specifically DMIs or data matching issues, as well as SVIs, which are special enrollment period verification issues. And then we've got real-time status updates. All of the marketplace documents and notices flow through to your agent accounts here. Steve asks a very timely question here of why do we have to reconnect through CMS every 12 hours? Well, the direct answer is, Steve, is because CMS says we have to. So it's their world, we're just living in it. But what I was also going to show you is even when I go into our staging environment, I also have to do that. So no, there is not a way around it. Everybody has to integrate their EDE or Health Sherpa account with their CMS account. This is really a security protocol that they've created to ensure that agents aren't sharing accounts or being accessed by people that should not have access to them. So it helps with the program integrity and overall security of your account and your book of business. So honestly, if it's taking you more than 60 to 120 seconds, you might be doing it wrong because I just did it and I'm all set. But unfortunately, not a way around it. Just kind of a necessary evil of doing doing things in the ACA. And I think as a industry trend in ACA, we're going to start to see a lot more of these program integrity, fraud, waste, and abuse measures. And the ACA is going to start looking a little bit more like Medicare with a lot of the rules and regulations coming out here. So really there's a couple things that we try to help agents and agencies do on our platform. Number one, provide comprehensive tools to help manage your prospects and clients both in the shopping and quoting phase, during the enrollment process, and then post enrollment, making sure people effectuate and stay effectuated throughout the year. We do that through personalized marketing tools, simple shopping and quoting platform that we'll see in a bit here, the full agent CRM to manage your book of business, and then consent and fraud features as well that help you stay compliant with CMS mandates. We do a ton of trainings. We also do our FFM training. We should be doing that this year as well. So when you go to do your FFM training, you can choose a vendor. And if you choose HealthSherpa, depending on your state, most states are eligible for some type of CE credits just for doing the mandatory FFM training that you're going to do anyways. You do have to do it through the HealthSherpa module, though, to qualify for those CE credits. And then platform trainings like this and those ongoing specialty webinars we mentioned. We do have a full HealthSherpa agent support team as well. They're available through chat, email, over the phone. I think our chat response time is averaging about a minute or less these days when we're in working hours. Those working hours are typically 9 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Or in Hot Springs there, are you all Central or Eastern?
Yeah, we're central.
Central, okay. So 8 to 6 your time is our HealthSherpa agent support standard hours outside of OEP and what we call peak days there at the last 2 days of December OEP. All right, so now we'll get into creating your account real quick. Creating your account, if you don't have a HealthSherpa account, you can simply head to healthsherpa.com, sign up now, and it will take you through a workflow here to create an account. You'll really just need your NPN in the states you're licensed in, and you can create that account. When you do create that account, you'll see your name and NPN up in the upper left-hand corner here.
But when they create their account, they'll have a special code from us, correct?
Correct, yeah. And you can share that code.
Yeah, if you have those ACA contracts with us, we have a flyer that we can send you afterwards that have our code on it to sign up for the platform.
And that will help make sure you're linked up under the Eldercare services account so that they can help with compliance issues, reporting, all those types of things. Commission reconciliation is a big one in the ACA. Once you get that account set up, there's really 4 basic steps you're going to want to do. You're going to want to integrate your FFM account, which we just did. Then if you have a new account, you're going to see a big Enable EDE button right next to your name at the top here. What that is that's a one-time identity proofing step that you'll have to take to verify that you are this person you say you are associated with this NPN. It'll ask you some multiple choice questions about your personal credit history, and you'll verify your identity and be all set, and your account will be EDE enabled. So, and just to clarify, if you don't do that, all of the functionality we talk about today is behind the EDE kind of wall there. So really, you have to enable your EDE account to get most of the functionality. We also have an enrollee assistance program. This is if you don't want to write business under your NPN, you can use the enrollee assistance program. We have a few different ways of that, but more information on that can be found on the bonuses page, what that looks like, how it works, and then you'll want to update your carrier settings. Whoops. This is
This is a
basically,
big one.
yeah, absolutely. So in this gear icon in the upper right-hand corner, we've got our carriers. And what we're doing here is we're defining which states we're licensed in, and then adding that state. And then we're going to indicate which carriers we're appointed with, and which carriers maybe we're not appointed with. And if we are using the enrollee assistance program, if we want to enable that carrier for the enrollee assistance program as well. So it's really important to set these to make sure, I always like to say our core job to be done here at HealthSherpa is helping you all submit applications with a specific NPN associated on them. So this piece right here, setting who I'm appointed with, is key to making sure that the right NPN is applied. Whoops. All right, so now we'll jump into our live account overview real quick. So we've gone through, set up our account, enabled EDE, set our carrier settings. I'm gonna pop back to this home page. This is a fairly new page. Basically, this is meant to be your hub of everything Health Sherpa. So we've got education materials based on, where you're at in creating your account. We've got news and updates from our blog and agent newsletter that goes out every month. We've got a counter on your FFM integration. We've got some additional resources, certification center here, things like that. Over on the left-hand side, we have all of our different pages. So probably the two most used pages here are going to be your clients and leads table. Your clients table is going to show you any client that any application or a record of applications that exist in your account that have been submitted in the ACA or the FFM. So this means even if you submitted it back in December through a different platform, if you search and claim it into your Health Sherpa account, it's going to show here in the clients table. And we've got all these different filters. I can filter specifically on plan years and see, everybody that has an unpaid binder payment and go and get those people to make their binder payment. So it's essentially like a CRM with somewhat limited capabilities. One important thing to point out here is that this data in my Health Sherpa account, it doesn't sync automatically with the CMS database. So you can see here, this data is very, very stale because I haven't used this account in a while. This one's, from 5/6/25. I can either click refresh here to bring this data up to date, and these are probably going to say terminated because they're from prior plan years. Yep. So that updated the payment status there, or I can click into the specific client record here to sync that application data with the marketplace database and bring in up-to-date information for the entire application record. And we've got a number of sections here. Up at the top, we've got follow-ups, or these are essentially action items, things you want to resolve in order to make sure either people's coverage effectuates or their subsidy eligibility stays intact. So like verify loss of coverage is a SEP verification task. If they use the loss of coverage SEP outside of open enrollment, they need to verify that loss of coverage. And what that looks like is essentially they're clicking verify, and you can upload follow-up documents here that prove that they had coverage that ended, or sometimes there'll be an income DMI that you have to prove their projected income. You may have to prove citizenship or immigration status, things like that. There'll be a list of acceptable documents down here that you can submit to CMS to resolve these items. But you essentially, say what you're submitting, select the file from your computer and upload it. We also, to help resolve some of these items, because some of the proposed changes that we'll get to in a sec are getting a little more strict, we can now either email this document upload link directly to the client from here, or we can just copy this link and put it in a custom email in Gmail or Outlook. A couple other items here. We've got what we call task views, but basically all clients here is your entire all of the records that you've ever worked. When we look at some of these task views, we've got renewals. These are going to be just in this scenario, 2025 plans that are going to renew for 2026. It may have some statuses and factors that could impact how that coverage passively renews or doesn't passively renew. So this will be really good for understanding how much work you're going to have to do during renewal season if you've got an existing book. At-risk AORs is going to detect if one of your submitted policies in HealthSherpa is now showing that another NPN is associated with that policy. That's where you'll have to go out, contact the client, see if they're working with another agent. If not, it could be a case of an unauthorized plan switch that
So
you'll
does
want
that,
to
do
report.
they have to log in to see that, or would they get a notification?
You do have to log in to see this because it's in that ED environment. Yeah.
So it kind of just needs to be something they do regularly. Remember to do that.
Yeah. I mean, depending on the size of your book, you may want to do it once a week, once a month. If you've got hundreds of clients, once a week might be good. If you've got
I'd be checking it every day, Ross.
every day might be excessive,
Every
but
day.
and then the documents, dude, this is going to have all of your DMI and SVI items that need action taken. It's really important to help consumers resolve these items, because for the special enrollment verification, if you don't resolve that, they may lose their coverage and never effectuate, and you won't get paid on that business. And same thing with the data matching issues. Really, immigration and citizenship can impact coverage, but even the if you let a income DMI lapse, what typically happens is that person was getting a significant tax credit, and then all of a sudden they didn't resolve the income DMI, and the next month they get the full price premium billed to them, and they say, "Whoa, what's going on here? There's a huge increase." Hopefully they'll contact you, or they may just cancel their plan and coverage. So EDE permissions lost is kind of similar to the AOR at risk. Basically, if you had an application in your account, you've now lost CMS permissions to view that data for one reason or another. You want to go through and re-enable EDE and check and see if anything has changed with these. And then the invalid action error, this is if you hit this invalid action error, it's typically if you are trying to enroll a client that currently does not have an NPN associated with their application or has a different NPN that what you're, excuse me, than what you're trying to apply to the application. You can also see this in a couple other scenarios, like if they have an existing ACA application and you tried to create a new one, you could see this invalid action error, because really you should use the existing ACA application for the current plan year. Leads tab, real quick, is very similar. Basically, these are all people that are either in the shopping phase, you're running quotes for them, but you've saved their information, or they've saved their own information. They're applying. These are people that do not actively have ACA coverage, and so you've begun an application on HealthSherpa, but you haven't quite completed it. And then confirming are the folks that you've gone through, you've done the full application, but you haven't actually selected the plan to finalize the enrollment. So there's kind of 3 lead stages here. And everybody will show here. If you need more details, you can click into them. If they have an existing application or a saved quote, you can click resume shopping or edit application to jump into that. We also have all of our consent documents housed here. We do have a separate consent tab, but you can email and text consent and client review directly from your HealthSherpa account. And so these are kind of the 2 core pages. You know, exports we'll touch on in some of those more advanced trainings, but that's taking your data out of HealthSherpa to maybe put into a more robust CRM or email marketing tools, or manipulate in Excel or your own data lake. Insights, I thought we got rid of, but it gives you a little bit of insights into business you've written recently. This agent has not written any business, so it's not really helpful. Bonuses, we've got our enrollee assistance program, some broker bonuses. These are exclusive broker bonuses paid by HealthSherpa. They're essentially above and beyond your existing commissions, any existing overrides or carrier bonuses that you have going with Eldercare or any other upline. Essentially, it's a platform bonus for using HealthSherpa, and this depends on the carrier and state. If you are eligible, you'll be alerted when these are turned on during open enrollment. And then we also do have a custom marketing site for everybody. Let me open this up.
My
Oops.
favorite part, as everyone knows.
That's the help article. Yeah, so the marketing website is great if you want to get people into the funnel, get them shopping for a plan. So it's got kind of a standard consumer flow here. We're just going to speed right through it.
Yeah, I would recommend, everyone take this link, put it in their email signature, make it a QR code, make it an ad, put it everywhere to start getting some leads for ACA.
Absolutely. That's a great idea. And once they go through that workflow to gather their quoting and household info, they'll be put right onto the quoter, see their estimated savings, if they're eligible for cost sharings, and they can see all the plans here. Another way to get folks into kind of this shopping experience is if we just go up here, we can quote on X and start a quote that way. We'll enter their info here. And then maybe I want to select a couple plans. Well, probably don't want to select Aetna this year. Aetna is leaving the ACA market, if you haven't heard.
Yes, we put
But
that in our newsletter last month.
okay. So like, for example, maybe I've gone through did it needs analysis. I know these are the three best plans for the consumer. I can actually create a link and either email that directly to my client right here, or I could just copy the link, do a custom email in Gmail, Outlook, whatever your email client is. And when they open this link, it's going to take them directly to this page that shows these three custom selected plans that are the best for their needs. And you can do that. You can actually create this share link anywhere in the shopping experience. You can't do it in the application, but anywhere in the shopping experience, you can link them. Like if this is the best plan, I could create a link here, send that directly over to them, and they'd land here. And if they wanted, whoops, if they wanted, they could um, add the plan to the cart. That's how you do that, and then start the application. Um, I would probably recommend you try to help clients do the application as much as possible, just given the complexities of the
Yeah, but
questions that are found there
it
around.
still helps the agent stay competitive with healthcare.gov. So like
Oh,
every,
totally.
it's like us using Integrity's like Medicare Center for Medicare. Like we give them a pearl for that, but like this helps you stay competitive with healthcare.gov. So you can be like I recommend, like even on the Medicare side, which I know most of you on this training are already selling Medicare. It's like the same marketing protocols. You can see what they're putting out. So come what November, they'll be doing emails and posts like crazy saying it's that time of year to start quoting. You can do that same thing with that link. It's time to start quoting and give them your link.
Absolutely. Yeah, like to Adrian's point, I would proliferate that link as much as possible. And it's much better to have them shopping for and looking at plans on a site where if they do decide to go and do the whole app themselves and complete it, it's got your NPN on it and you're credited with that sale versus a healthcare.gov or just telling them to go to healthsherpa.com. So definitely key there. All right, so we touched on the last sync date. Again, the data's only as good as the last time it was refreshed. We covered this. I'm going to skip a lot here because we covered most of this. These are all the different tabs that we have available. DMI and SBI statuses. So when you submit an application, it's going to if there's data matching issues, when you submit that application, it actually pings the Department of Homeland Services, IRS, and the Social Security Administration to try to verify the data that you've put on the application. And so if there's issues like I used one name on the application, but Social Security has a different first name or has my middle initial, it might throw a data matching issue. In order to make sure I keep my tax credit and my coverage, I need to resolve that data matching issue. So it'll show action needed when I first enroll that plan. Once I upload documents, it'll show processing. If I uploaded the wrong documents or didn't resolve it, it will show insufficient. Once it's closed or completed, once it's completed, it'll show completed. If it's closed out, it means CMS verified it a different way, or you updated the application and the DMI went away. And then expired is what we don't want. We forgot to do it. And there's a little help article here that's got more detailed overview of these DMI and SVI statuses. Again, the marketing link, unique to you in your NPN. This is, you can set up some additional like QR codes and UTM parameters for tracking if you're doing digital marketing or listing it on a website as well. Or you can make a QR code and throw it on a t-shirt. Agent level reporting here. We've got the exports tab, has a bunch of different exports. Most of the task views that we referenced earlier are found here, as well as follow-up exports. Oh, and then if I want to export my client list, I can just click this export button, choose a date range. I could do a custom date range if I need specific dates, and include these unsubmitted and three-way call resolved apps as well. These are some automated reminder emails for clients. You can actually turn these on and off on your settings page. Under post-enrollment emails here, we've got follow-up document status changes, follow-up document and binder payment reminder emails. So your agency may turn these on, or you may have the ability to choose if you want them on or off. You can view the email that's going out to them and customize the signature as well. Then you can get weekly digest emails. These are these enrollment lead emails as well. Whenever a lead's created through your marketing link, you can choose to get an email. Or if consent is completed, you could choose to get an email reminder as well. Oh, the marketplace notices are essentially the eligibility determination letter. So I always like to say if you're unclear about maybe why somebody isn't eligible to enroll, why their tax credit is different than you thought it should be. Oops, I keep going to that guy. Any of these kind of unanswered questions after completing the application, I always recommend you check the marketplace notices. So these are found down at the bottom of each client page. The eligibility determination results is what the letter that gets sent back from CMS when you complete an enrollment, that's going to tell you, the premium tax credit they qualified for, the income that was on the account. It's going to have an application number. It's going to tell you whether they applied for coverage, if they're eligible to enroll, maybe if they're eligible for an SEP, if it's outside of open enrollment, if they have DMIs or SVIs, those will be listed here. If they need to, do things like verify they're not eligible for other coverage, that would be listed here as well. All of the things on this letter are, we try to show or display in one way here, just to make it easier. But this is kind of, if something doesn't look right or it seems incorrect to you, this is always the fail-safe to get the facts on why CMS did something. You'll also see 1095As can be here sometimes. They can also be found on, I believe, the household profile and associated applications. those are kind of the ACA tax reportings for your consumers. All right, so now some of the, let's see. Stephen asked, outside of Aetna leaving the ACA market, are you aware of any new carriers entering the market or anyone leaving the market? I haven't heard much about new carriers entering the market. I don't know if there's any what I would call net new carriers. I think there are some of the newer carriers possibly doing some expansion, like Antidote Healths and Imperials, smaller regional carriers like that. I'm sure some of the large national carriers that are still in the market, like the UHCs, Molinas, Oscars, Cignas, they might be doing some expansion as well. But we really won't know that until we see more rate data get to the state DOIs. Very good question. So these are the ACA proposed changes. Now there's kind of a few different things going on in the ACA world this year. Number one is the expanded tax credits are expiring. So I think back maybe in 2020 or 2021, the American Rescue Plan Act introduced these expanded tax credits, which essentially was a little extra tax credits for people that qualify for the ACA, and it was essentially on a sliding scale based on where you fell as a percent of the FPL or the federal poverty level. These expanded tax credits are set to expire at the end of this plan year. Barring an act of Congress and them actually passing a bill to continue these or change the math on the tax credits forever, they will expire at the end of the year, and there will be a significant impact to people that have been on ACA for the past 3 or so years. The main number one is that 91% of $0 enrollment folks will see an increase. So right now, based on these expanded tax credits, there's lots of people that can qualify for a $0 bronze plan or a $0 silver plan with cost sharing reductions. The cost sharing reductions essentially are kind of like a second tax credit that lowers the copays, coinsurance, deductibles, and max out of pocket on the plans. And some of this is like some of the best coverage you can get in the country right now, like a $0 premium with a $900 max out of pocket, stuff like that. Those $0 plans are gonna generally, for depending on where on the FPL you fall, they're generally going to jump up from anywhere from $20 to $75. And you can see KFF says across the board, across the country, there's going to be a $75 average net premium increase. Really, the actual impact is going to depend on this, not only the state, but also how carriers do their rates this year, which is kind of a chicken and the egg situation where, carriers are probably waiting for Congress to take action and decide whether or not they're going to try to continue the expanded tax credits before they finalize their rates as well. So,
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see.
yeah, ultimately, the too long did not read is we don't know what rates are going to look like, and we probably won't until maybe September or October this year. On top of the expanded tax credits, we do have what we call the the program integrity proposed rules. So this was something that CMS proposed, I think back at end of March, April. Basically, it's a new set of rules to try to tighten up a lot of some of the loose regulations in the ACA, or things that hadn't been enforced over the past few years in the ACA. Obviously, expanded tax credits we covered. One of them is the 150% FPL special enrollment period. This was essentially a year-round SEP for anyone 150% of the FPL or below. A lot of folks place a lot of the kind of AOR swapping and um, client sharing of clients, place the blame on this kind of year-round SEP, giving agents the ability to switch somebody every month and get paid for 1 month, or however many months it takes the other agent to recognize they're not getting paid, has really, caused a lot of problems in the industry. Another one is really the federal government doesn't like paying for people that are on $0 plans that either don't know they have them or aren't utilizing them. So to try to curb that, they're going to have a $5 premium for $0 passive renewals. What that means is when you enroll somebody in the ACA, that plan is generally going to auto renew. If it's going to auto renew from a $0 plan to another $0 plan, they want to tack on a $5 premium for that to make sure that the agent goes out and engages the consumer in order to do an active enrollment, or at least actively verifies their income and application information is the same, to get that to renew at $0. Failure to reconcile is just a letter that clients may receive if they don't file taxes and actually reconcile the tax credit they receive from the marketplace. They're not going to be eligible for tax credits from the marketplace moving forward. This DMI trigger is if somebody's income, this is mainly for the close to Medicaid eligible population under 138% of the FPL, but if their income changes more than 10% year over year, it's going to trigger an income DMI. So there's potentially going to be a lot more need for verifying their income, especially at the lower income levels. Shorter
Yeah,
open
everything
enrollment.
is sort of sounding like everything is going to require a lot more proof and documentation.
Exactly. I think, the general sentiment from the new administration is the past administration was a little lax in some of these areas in order to grow the ACA as much as possible. And now the pendulum's swinging in the other direction, where they're going to correct it a bit, maybe overcorrect it, some would
I
say.
feel like I'm having
Um,
deja vu.
exactly. Hopefully, this doesn't happen every time the president's party changes, because it's kind of annoying working in this space. But shorter open enrollment period obviously is a real big issue, especially for those of you doing Medicare as well. This really gives you like 1 week of just ACA selling. Some state-based exchanges are going to keep their expanded open enrollment periods, it looks like, but in all of the FFM states, it's just going to be that standard
Wow.
6 week
That's
selling period.
wow.
Yeah,
That's
and
that's really different. And like I said, like, we're here to help you every step of the way. If you're not sure if your state is state-based or FFM, we can help you through that for sure. We can let you know everything you need to know about your state.
Absolutely. Um, and then I think the final piece here I want to touch on reinstituting SEP pre-enrollment verification. So this part of this has already been turned on last month. Basically, you were always supposed to verify a loss of coverage SEP. Nobody was enforcing it, so they just started enforcing that again. On top of the loss of coverage SVI, they're also going to be adding additional SEP verifications around income if you're using an income related SVI, as well as some other areas as well, I think.
But
But again,
basically, they're using any SEP, like they're gonna have to have that proof and documentation.
exactly, exactly. It all comes back to making sure you keep your clients closely engaged. If you say, I need this document from you, or I need you to sign this thing so I can submit your application, you want to have them engaged and know who you are, recognize your name, your email, your phone number, so that you can get them to do what they need to either verify things about their income and statuses, or get them re-enrolled for renewal. And then I'll just send all this out. This is additional resources, help articles, agent trainings, common FAQs, et cetera, et cetera. All right. I think we touched on Stephen's questions there. Um, Excited to have you starting in ACA, Vicky. Um, and if anybody else has any questions, feel free to reach out to us directly.
Yeah, I know sometimes there's a lag on Zoom. So if anyone does have any questions about just ACA in general or the Health Sherpa platform, again, you get to use it at no cost to you. We're here to help you be successful and not let you leave any money on the table. So if you do have any questions, please let us know. I see Alfreda still on here, Barbara, Carl, Douglas, Jane, hey, and Levon, Marie and Mary. Prince, Rodney Scott. I see you're all still on here, so please like share any feedback or any questions you might have or any advice. Like if you are selling ACA, what advice would you give to maybe Vicky who's interested in selling ACA? We would love to hear that. And then I know this training was a little bit different than the ones we normally do. We normally do a full enrollment demonstration, but we really wanted to kind of show you the other features that are in here to help you organize your clients and help you navigate all the new proposed changes. And so now you'll know where to go to submit all those required documents. But we still do have the other video for the full enrollment. So if you're interested in that recording, let me know. And then possibly we could have Ross back on if there's any changes to the enrollment process on Health Sherpa.
Absolutely. And I would say probably the agent trainings that I linked in my shows, my slideshow there in my deck. Those
Mhm.
are when you go to that page in our FAQ help site, we have all the recordings from the most recent versions of those available to
Okay.
watch on demand as well. But
Okay.
yeah, I'm happy to do a quick quote and enroll overview. Um, I,
Maybe when we get closer to.
yeah, I would recommend. I just know there's a couple core changes that are happening in the next month or so. So more like August, September would probably be a better time for that. So
Yeah. Okay. Mr. had asked if there's going to be a recording available. Yes, there is. We always put our recordings on our YouTube channel for you. Uh, we always want to help every agent, no matter where they're at. So uh, we will send you a direct link to this to make it easy too. We're all about making things convenient. So no one has any other questions about the Health Sherpa platform. I'm really, really surprised. we're, like I said, we're going to follow up in those first things. And maybe I'll put that in the email, Ross, like that first checklist you make. I think it was 4 things when you
Yep.
first log in. It's the FFM, the EDE, the something, and then the carriers.
FFM integration, enable EDE, enrollee assistance program if you want to have that available, and then carrier settings and making sure you're setting where you're licensed and where you're appointed with. And I do want to stress, like, make sure we do nipper checks, but make sure that you put all the states you're licensed in. Because back to that marketing link, if you don't put Utah and then somebody clicks that marketing link from Utah and they try to do a quote and you're licensed there, it's going to stop them and say, hey, this agent isn't licensed here. You have to contact them if you want to enroll. Just might cause a little hiccup. So.
Okay. And Carl said I want the full enrollment process, so we'll be sure to get you that link, Carl. And I don't see any other questions coming through, which I'm super surprised. Normally, this training has a ton of questions.
Well, I'm sure when they all come to you, we can sort them out together, Adrian.
Yep, we'll be ready for sure. I was curious about the EAP. Is that like what the referral bonus used to be?
Yes, that's essentially similar to our old referral program. We call it the enrollee assistance program. You can kind of do a shared referral, which is where you're gonna complete the application and then apply a different NPN to it at the end of the application. Or you can do the full service enrollee assistance program where you've got a unique phone number and email and you're sending them to an internal, we call them HealthSherpa consumer advocate to help get them enrolled.
Okay, perfect. Jeff had asked if you could review about group and ACA coverage. So I don't know that we have time to go over all that because that is a loaded question, Jeff. That would have been a great one at the beginning. But we do have a video specifically about the basics of ACA and what it looks like maybe for someone coming off a group. So I'll send you that video that we did on that, Jeff. Alrighty, well, I don't see any further questions coming through. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to learn more about the HealthSherpa platform. Hopefully you're able to see how much this platform is going to bring you value and how easy it is for you to use and inspire you to, start offering these products to your clients and let Eldercare help you do that. And thank you, Ross, so much for being here again every year.
Well, thanks for having me, Adrian, and look forward to working with you all. And yeah, look forward to helping you get used to Health Sherpa and adapt all these changes if you're already selling ACA. So thanks for your time.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.